And we're live. There we go, everybody. What's up, everyone? CJ Reynolds on Sunday evening here in the...
Hello, and welcome to Reynolds Live. You should actually call it something like Reynolds Live. Like Reynolds Live.
You realize I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah, I know. But before we start this, don't forget to check out. Also, if you checked it out, please.
Can you please go watch the Eagles game so you can keep
if you checked it out,
in the know?
Say it there and say where the comments.
You want me to tell people to tell you to go to your channel if they want to watch games?
And tell them this. Put on the chat if they watched it.
Got it. I will tell them. Love you. All right. So, oh my gosh, I'm so scattered. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl. I never watched football before this year because, they're in the playoffs, so they're on their way to the Super Bowl. I've never watched football before this year, and it's like, it's driving me crazy. It's on over there. So anyway, it's Sunday Night Teacher Talk, though, because this is the most important thing. A show where I come on here and answer people's questions that are freaking out about school and stuff. So last week was my first week back. This weekend, I really took it and spent a lot of family time this week because it was a very, very tiring week. The dog had an ear infection. Like, I don't remember dogs being, I feel like they were tougher when I was a kid. Like, they didn't get ear infections. Is that true? Maybe not.
We have a very wimpy dog that cost us like $400. Yeah. He's sensitive, not wimpy.
He's sensitive, and I love him. I love him. So, as people are just signing in here, I just want to say what's up. Hales Teach, Karen Jean Hunt from Armenia. That's awesome. I talked to somebody in Armenia the other day, I think, for a mentoring thing. Tracy Pinter, what's going on?
Oh, gee, Jobson starts her first full-time job this week.
She does? Oh, did I know that? I don't know if I knew that or not.
I think she told her she got hired.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Jade. Tracy Pinter said, how are the violin lessons?
Oh.
For those of you that don't know, I've been running every day. Today was day 34. I'm running every day for a year. I always make Instagram stories at the end of my run or during it or in the beginning or whatever. The other day, I made an Instagram story that I said you should tell your students when you're doing cool stuff like running every day for a year or if you're taking violin lessons. But the story skipped, and I kind of messed up, and then the story skipped, and it sounded like I said, tell your students if you're taking Viagra. And I got how many DMs do you think I got?
A ton.
Like 20 or more or 30 DMs from people that were like, what, did you just tell everyone to tell your students if they're taking Viagra? And I'm like, no, man, I didn't say that. I meant violin lessons. Do not tell your students you're taking Viagra. So it was like a whole thing all week. So thank you, Tracy. Oh yeah, I forgot about that light ring. There we go. Now we look celestial.
Oh wait.
We're gonna need it once it gets completely dark out.
Turn it down.
There's a dial, the same dial that you're using. I think that's the low. Yeah, it only gets higher after that.
Do I just leave it on low?
Yeah, leave it on low because otherwise it'll look like I'm on fire. Erin, Selena, Jay Dobson, Unicorns Rock, Joanne Markov I see on here. Mr. Tran. Tran said, I love that your boy's always dropping his channel name. He always says, yo, Richard Voister's on here. I didn't see you last week, buddy. Was he on here last week? You look at the comments more than I do. Tabatha Harris said, not Viagra. Oh, God, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Malika Strouder, I think I'm saying that right. Hi from Florida. And Tracy Pinter said she was dying laughing about that. Tran said, thank you for making me spit lunch on my keyboard. Oh man. So if everybody looks on here, there's a dude, his name's Kasim George. We call him Jorge. He was my student last year and this year. And he told me he would be in the live feed, and here he is. Let me say this. Let me go ahead as we get started before I talk about Teachers Connect and all that stuff. Let me put Jorge on blast because Jorge doesn't even know that I know this. Last year, Jorge was a nightmare child, right? He was just like, he's not a bad kid. He was just doing too much and he was acting a fool, right? Comes back into my class again this year, and he is so much better that I can't even fully convey that, right? So like, and he might not even be hearing me right now. I have no idea. But like, and what I mean by that is like trying to do better, like making moves to move the needle in the right direction. Is he late every day still? Pretty much late every single day that he comes to class. Is he out of uniform often? Yep. Ties undone, buttons not set, wrong side, whatever, right? But I see the needle moving in the right direction in a way that shows me that he really cares about himself and cares about where he's going. So Jorge, I just want to put you on blast real quick, man. Thanks for joining us. Now Mark's on here. Mark, look, I don't have time for all this. Mark's excellent, but he has more keys than a janitor. And you can see Mark in all the Costa Rica videos. So look, I want to bring something up because I don't know exactly what to do. So I'm going to throw this all to you guys. On Teachers Connect, which is a site that I kind of like rep every week. Teachers Connect is this site you can go on if you're a teacher or if you're in education, and you drop questions in. You make posts. You can shout out your YouTube channel or your blog or whatever you have going on, your TPT. You can put like things in there, let people know about your resources, and that's where they start from. On there tonight, there was a woman named Vanessa who had 0 answers to her question, and I assume she just put it up there. But Vanessa is a teacher, and I forget where she is, but she has a student that just moved here from Mexico, right? So we're halfway through the year. Somebody shows up from Mexico, and they speak no English. She's wondering what resources could exist out there to help a student and to help a teacher in those particular situations. She wants to help him. She wants to give him the education he deserves, but she's not exactly sure how to go. What happened? What?
I just made a good catch.
Dude, I'm in the middle of something.
Sorry,
you can't distract me with the Eagles. Melissa Rice is making my wife run across the room. So so I'm wondering if you could do one of two things. You could go in the comment section, say anywhere you might send them, any resources you might give them, any hookups, any advice, or you could go right on the Teachers Connect, go right under her question. It's right at the top of the page. Just look for Vanessa and you can answer her there and help her out. So what do we got? Wife, let's jump into these questions because we always run out of time.
Where's your phone?
My phone? Was
I
your somewhere. I don't know where it went.
Okay, just
I think I ate it. Oh snap! I lost the question. What is my life about tonight?
1 yard line.
We're a professional act here. Oh my gosh, wife. Oh, there it goes.
Jill Chapman.
Jill Chapman is saying, "Hey, buddy, what's up, Jill Chapman? I love Jill Chapman. She's always on here. Got to tell my principal I want to switch to a different school. Any tips? #awkward. I think, look, Jill, I think it always comes down to remembering what your why is, right? So like I was just listening to something about Simon Sinek, who, if you've not checked out any of his stuff, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but just look up Simon and why, and I'm certain something will pop up. Simon Sinek talks a lot about knowing your why. And when you know your why, you can move confidently in directions without feeling awkward, without feeling weird about it. So for me, a lot of my why is my kids, right? My kids, my wife, even Beast, like they are the reason I do what I do. Yes, the students are important. Yes, I don't know, education is important to me, but my motivation behind everything, for me, there's some religious stuff tied up in that as well too, but like it is also my family. And I think when you know what your why is, when you're looking out for your family, when you're looking out for the students, when you're trying to put yourself in the best position that you can so that you can use all of your gifts in the classroom, maybe that's just not the school that you're in right now. So it doesn't matter so much what you say. It's just remembering what the motivation is behind it. And when you let that in, then sometimes the conversation comes a little bit easier. So that's what I would go with, is remembering what your why is and all of that. What do you got there, dude?
I'm just laughing at people's comments. Just go.
Okay. Mauricio, Martinez, I think that's right. Reynolds, I've always wondered, what did you study and where does the passion for teaching come from? So I studied, what's that?
I said you kind of just answered something.
Yeah, so I went to school and I was an English major, and then I quickly realized that was good for pretty much nothing that I was interested in. Some people find success with English majors, I suppose, if they want to edit, but I didn't. So I went back to school for teaching, and I have a whole video on this on my channel, but the short of it is I wanted to I thought about I wanted to be a drummer, and I was a drummer for a very long time, and I played with different bands. I played on different albums and stuff like that. Nothing famous, just like local stuff here in Philly. And then I thought about being a priest, and then my wife ruined that idea because you can't be married and be a priest. Then I thought about being a clown. I wanted to be like a traveling clown that like went to hospitals in third world countries and stuff like that, not like a Barnum and Bailey clown. But then somehow, some way, somebody suggested teaching. And I thought that is like the amalgamation of everything I ever wanted to do, right? You're kind of on stage, you're caring for people for a living, you are being a jackass in front of everyone for their betterment, like all that stuff wrapped into one, plus things about community and mission and stuff like that. It just all came together, and that's how I knew that's what I wanted to do. And when you know what you want to do, I mean, the passion part is easy. And if you stick it out, then you win. And I have a gazillion stories to prove my point there. Shirley Martini, my favorite name on the internet, says balance. How do you do your job and do it right? And to what admin requires without completely losing your free time in my personal life and my mind? So Shirley, that's a really good question. I don't think that work-life balance exists in any sort of fashion where it just stays exactly the same all the time. Like you can't like hit, like you can't find it and get in that groove and just coast. I think growth from life comes from going through adversity, going through difficult times, right? And if you can fight through that, then you get, what I tell my students is you get scar tissue, and that's a lot stronger than regular tissue. So I think that pull from both ends is always there. You just have to be brave enough sometimes. I'm not saying you're not brave. Ow, that hurt. You have to be brave enough to say like, what needs your attention? Like, is it your family right now, and is your house a disaster area and your Christmas tree is still up? Not saying ours was up until yesterday, but it might have been. Do you need to attend to a sick relative? Do you need to care for your kids more? Are they feeling left out? And if so, then take the time and do that, right? Teaching is this thing. There's always ongoing work. You're never finished. So don't get wrapped up in trying to get things finished, and just know that like, if you push something off, if you don't do a unit plan or your lesson plan or your paperwork's not in, but you have a good reason, I would just be very mindful and strategic about the fact that like, I'm doing this on purpose. Like I'm being present in the moment with my family because that's what's needed. And I will get back to the schoolwork when I have the time to be able to put into that. And then other times you can kind of like push your family off a little bit, and it sounds awful, but like when there's mandatory stuff to be done at school, you can say, hey guys, this weekend or today or for the next 2 hours, this is 100% where my head is, and I can't do this other stuff. And so for me, it's easier in a lot of ways because the Not So Secret Wife like just is great about taking over. And kind of like she can, we're at a point in our relationship where she really understands that like I need to step aside and do work and not be bothered, and she's great about that.
Well, we work really well together.
Yeah, like you do like to just come and talk to me when I'm in the middle of doing some like.
But I love you, so I can't.
I know you cannot separate yourself from me.
I'm always so.
You're always right there. There it is. What do we got?
Piano boy.
Well, that's weird. Why did that pop up? Why is there a pop-up?
I don't know how you make it go away.
I don't either. Maybe it'll just disappear. Piano Boy is asking, what's up, buddy? Hi, Mr. Reynolds. What's something you enjoy doing personally outside of teaching profession and family obligations and family fun stuff? Oh gosh, what do I like doing? I like people a lot. If we go out for drinks or dinner as a staff, I am literally the last person that leaves every time. I'll hang for 4 hours if everyone's out. It fills me with something that few other things do. And so last night I went to a friend's house, hung out with this dude, Marty, who I rarely like see. Like I think I've hung out with him one other time, and like we just hit it off and we had like a great conversation. And then I had to leave to take my kids home, and I wanted to be like, can I stay and play with Marty like a little bit longer? Like we're just having a great conversation, right? We had like a great talk last night, and I love that. Let's see, music is my other thing. Music like my wife can't understand this either. We have conversations about this all the time.
I just don't connect the same to music. Like,
but it is my thing on a level where like I can't explain it. It's just like the greatest thing to me. Like I can feel it in my soul when I listen to good music. So I love it. What do you got?
I would say you need to be more telling and say weird experiments.
I do a lot of weird experiments too. So I'm running every day for 365 days in 1 year. I like doing weird challenges. I like doing everything. I had times when I was younger where I just used my right hand. I'm left-handed for like a week. I tried being
a clock around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot not having a clock. I refused to have a clock because I was not going to let a clock tell me whether I was tired or busy or late or on time or hungry. I forgot about that.
You're so weird.
It is weird, but
People
I friggin' love
ideas.
doing that stuff.
Go ahead.
Man, I should make a whole video on that. Rachael is asking, I have anxiety every Sunday, no matter how prepared I am for the upcoming week. Any tips on enjoying my Sundays again? Rachael, I would say this. This brings me a lot of peace. And I've done this for years, but right now I'm in the throes of a slightly different experiment and how I do this. I wake up early almost every day, even on the weekends. And when you hate waking up early on the weekends, you can just remember, you could just take a nap later and it's kind of the same thing. So I don't get up. I get up early. I get up before my kids. I get up about 5 a.m. and I come downstairs and I have a couple of different things I'm doing. I'm reading this book. I thought it was right around me. You want to grab it? Called Miracle Mornings or something like that. My friend sent it to me. Yo, there's a bunch of dudes out there. That's why it's barking. The whole block. So we live in the city. The whole block is sledding down my front steps because we don't have hills in the city. So we just fill all the whole steps in the front of the house with snow, and then that's what they sled down.
With literally 2 inches of snow.
There's like almost no snow left. But there's 4 kids out there right now, or 5?
On our front steps.
So anyway, I got this book, and this is my new experiment that I'm trying, is that in this book, they talk about doing things like waking up early and just having silence is your first thing. This can take 6 minutes. It's 6 things in 6 minutes. Silence, vision. So you're like envisioning things you want to see happen in your life. And I'm slightly into the law of attraction, but not like The Secret, not like, I think work coupled with a clear vision of what you want to do gets you what you want. I think doing affirmations, like saying things in your head, trying to rewire your neural pathways. And then for me, it's writing and reading something and then praying about stuff. And so here's what I'm getting at, even if you're not religious at all or not woo-woo at all. Like, I think having a clear vision of what's coming up today so you can actually feel successful. I think going on offense after your day instead of playing defense, where like, I will never in my life again be woken up by an alarm clock that tells me you need to get ready now so that you're not late. Mine is, it wakes me up in the morning to let me know that I need to get my body in control and get my mind in control. And that helps me to have far better days, far more peaceful days, because I know what the map is to success for that day. And then waking up on Monday and doing the same thing is like you're not thrust into your day. You can kind of take a moment, get ready, or on fire. And so that's some of the stuff that's been working for me lately. What do you got, dude? Johnny Chingas is saying, have you shown your students any motivational movies like Stand and Deliver or Freedom Writers? What's another good one? I have not. And this is why I have issue with some movies like that. Look, if you want to get down with them, you can. I'm not saying they're bad, because they've definitely motivated me. Like Dead Poets Society is one of my favorite movies of all time. The only issue I have with those movies is that it's always one person coming in to kind of like save the day. And I think teaching is a community sport. I think it's a team activity, right? Where we're all of us on here working together, trying to figure out the best way to make kids' lives the best they can be, or give them every opportunity to make them or to help them be the best they can be. So I don't know that I do motivational movies, but there's tons of stuff on YouTube. I'd rather show clips. So I show everything from Gary Vaynerchuk to Jocko Willink to Casey Neistat to like everybody. If you go on my channel and go up to the search bar, you can look at into Weird Friday, the folder there, and there's a playlist, and you'll find some stuff in there too. I should update that too. I'll make a note of it so that I can put some of the newer stuff in there that I do. Rachel is asking, I have rambunctious, chatty 10th grade, or I have rambunctious, chatty 10th grade boys. How do I harness their power for good? Any go-to activities or strategies? They're very disruptive and not interested in anything we do. I mean, 0 cents. Rachel, I find that like two things. One, I go back to this all the time, but like sitting down with students on one-on-one basis, before school, after school, having lunch with them, whatever it is, and then getting to know them is going to build rapport. And then it's harder for kids to be a pain in your butt when they know who you are, when they know that you care, when they know where you're coming from. That really, really matters. So maybe even if they're sitting at lunch and you go down and eat lunch with them one day, or you buy a snack for everyone at the table, or whatever it is, like you hook it up and then you're like sitting with everyone, that builds rapport, and that goes a really long way. I'd say the second way is that learning what they know, like being interested in what they're interested in. So do they like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, like, do they like Fortnite, or do they like Meek Mill, or do they like 21 Pilots, or do they like cooking shows, or are they into Pokemon? Are they into like whatever it is that they're into? You finding out about that and then teaching your lessons through that, even a little tiny part, right? It could just be vocabulary or something like that, or your morning opening exercise is based on the new silent sniper rifle in Fortnite. That creates buy-in for students. And then they, you're not trying to be cool, you're trying to be relevant. And I think that works every single time. And you will see a difference with students. I guarantee it.
Reiterate or add on that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need to be a big giant thing, a small thing. Like, I can see how that happens for Brody in class, because he hates school, right? He's the kid who hates school. But when you have something relatable, something that he's interested, it turns on a spark.
So let me tell that story really quick. Brody went to tutoring this summer for reading. Hated it. Every week, the teacher found out that he liked something called stick bots, which are these little positionable action figure things, and you can make stop motion videos out of them. So every week he shows up and she asks him about stick bots, or the videos that he watches for stick bots, or the activities that are revolve around stick bots. And then one week she even brought him a stick bot and like bought him one. She was like, "Oh, I was at the store and I saw this and I thought of you." That brought a level of commitment to our son that was mind blowing. It was like he loved this lady. He saw that she cared about him. He was willing to do stuff, and she wasn't like the most like exceptional teacher. I mean, she was a lovely lady, but she didn't have like that she wasn't like filled with energy, right? Like you think in my mind, a lot of teachers are, but like she like, stayed in her lane and she did things the way that she did things, but it was that connection point that changed everything for him. Tabatha Harris is saying, could you post a picture of you as a clown? It would literally make my day. I don't know. Do I have anything?
You weren't like a clown, like full makeup kind of clown.
No.
You just did all the clowny stuff.
I mean, I'm pretty much a clown, though. Tabatha, I'm going to find something for Thursday for throwing back.
I got to handle kid stuff. There's a couple
okay.
of next time.
Everyone's coming in from the snow. Now they got to get changed. Elena is asking, how do you build the bookshelves in your classroom? Is it easy for someone to do? Yeah, Elena, I have a video on my channel called like Flying Books and Floating Bookshelves, where I show you how I make both of those things in my room. And it's pretty simple. Like I'm thinking about actually, fun fact, the website came out. You can go to realrapwithreynolds.com and there's a website, and then we have stuff on there. And so what we're going to hopefully do is it's a place where you can sign up for mentoring. You can sign up to have me come speak at your school. You can, we're going to have like free resources that we're still working on getting on there. And then we're going to sell stuff on there as well, like stuff that people have asked me for. And I think the floating bookshelves are going to be one of those things that's on there. You can buy them in sets of 3. And they'll be made by yours truly. And then I just send them out to you. So I think that's going to be a thing. But I'm not sure, like, I think I might just offer it and see like if people want it, then I'll make more. But that's kind of what we're thinking of. But if you want to make them yourself, awesome. Like just go on there and it gives you the supply list and everything you need and where you can buy it and all that stuff too.
warning, the structure of the website is done, but not all the links out to different things are done. It's still a work in progress.
But it's up.
Yeah.
And
you can go see
it makes me look professional. I don't look like, because when we made our own, it made us look like we were drunk and making websites.
We couldn't. It
was a nightmare.
They're hard.
Assam, I think that's right. Assam Kareem is saying, how do you study for teacher certification exams? Man, I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask anyone in the comments that has recently taken an exam how they have studied for it, because I took it so long ago that I just read and read and read and read and read until I know something, and then I literally make note cards for everything. Whenever I studied for a test in college, I didn't go to high school as a good student. I had barely a C average. I barely made it out of high school because I just didn't care. It wasn't important to me. But then when I got in college, I realized what I wanted to do. It was like, all right, it's on now. Like I have a why behind what I'm doing. So I would literally make giant stacks of note cards for every single test, and I would quiz myself over and over and over again, and that's how I got to know stuff. So if anybody that has recently passed, if you could either put a comment or if you could hook up.
Sorry, interception.
Connect with him about how to take a teacher's exam. This is an action-packed evening this evening. Josh Clark is saying, the majority of my students are not listening to me and pretty much don't respect me. How do I get them to start listening to me? I think look, I'm going to flip it around and go totally Yoda on you by listening to them first. Like, what do you guys want to do? What is your motivation behind being in school? Like, where do you want to go? And I think, I may have talked about this recently, but I had a conversation with a student recently where I'm a huge believer in reverse engineering your life, right? So like you figure out exactly where you want to go, what you want to look like, exactly how much money you want to make, what kind of house you want to live in, what kind of car you want to drive, what kind of vacations you want to go on. Figure out how much all that stuff costs, where you want to live, like what kind of parties do you want to have, like anything you want to have, what do you want that to look like, right? And then you map that out and then reverse engineer it. So you want to be a nurse and live in this place and have this car and do this thing and go on this vacation. Then how much money is all that going to cost? And then you take it thing by thing. So to be a nurse, you have to go to college to be a nurse. You can't just show up at a hospital and start nursing people. That did not sound the way that I wanted it to, but you get what I was going for. You have to go to school and you have to follow the steps. So to get into nursing school, what do you need to have? A college diploma or a high school diploma. So like when you're doing things like that, it helps kids realize that like your actions right now are actually going to matter, because if you reverse engineer everything, then that you can clearly see the connection points. I just don't think kids always know the connection points. I think kids screw around in school because they don't either think that what they're doing is going to have a payoff, or they don't think it matters. And when you can show them that it matters, not just because you're saying so, not because you told them it's on the test, but like, look, in your life, reading actually matters. You could literally like not do anything else in high school, but if you know how to read, no matter how bad you mess up your life, you can fix it because you can teach yourself. Stopping and listening to other people while they're speaking and not talking over them is an important skill, because one day, you're going to have to be in a meeting, or you're going to have a spouse and you don't want to just talk over them. Like, there are real world implications for all of these things that we should be doing. So it's about, I think, Josh, you thinking about why are these things, why do they matter? The things that you're teaching, the things that you're talking about, the things that you're doing in school, right? And then why should they matter to the kids? And then getting the kids to understand them by having them reverse engineer their lives on some level. It doesn't have to be a big project or anything, although it could be. And then seeing the connection points and then letting them know, I want you to get there. I want you to do that so much. I want you to be successful. So I'm willing to do anything, even stand up here and talk about this stuff and do all the weird stuff that I'm willing to do because I want you to be successful.
I just like Joanne's comment, and then Piano Bowl's in.
Okay. Joanne Markov is saying, ha ha ha, just took down the tree, so you beat me by a day. Yep. it's
Thanks for making us not feel bad. We
curve.
felt pretty.
I know. That was the longest our tree was ever up in our lives. Piano Boy's asking, who's your favorite drummer? Mine is Phil Collins. Not a bad choice. Growing up, I would say either Neil Peart from Rush, Stuart Copeland from The Police, Dave Aberzies from Pearl Jam, or Billy Martin from a band called Medeski Martin and Wood. Man, that's a throwback. I haven't thought about Medeski Martin and Wood in a long time. They were the jam.
I'm gonna have to bring them up.
You just take your time over there. I'm gonna want me to sing a song for everyone? I'm gonna sing Lionel Richie.
No, Lionel Richie.
I've been listening to Lionel Richie Pandora Station and singing all the songs to my wife lately, and she loves it.
No, I don't.
What she's saying is she loves it. So Vincent is asking, oh wait, did he have another one? Because he said, but my question. He said, hey, I just wanted to say that I'm a huge fan since watching you. It's really made me realize that I'm making the right choice to become a teacher. That is awesome, and I'm very glad to hear that. But my question is, if one of your students' parents recently passed and they are acting out, how do you go about talking with them and helping them? So one, Vincent, I would do that. That's a great question. You
have a video kind of about that, don't you?
I do. I have a video called like how to help students deal with loss. But I made that after we lost 3 students last year to gun violence in my school and almost lost 1 or 2 more. They 2 dudes got shot, but they lived miraculously. I think it is a tricky situation, and I wouldn't try and navigate it alone. I would find friends at school. I'd find a counselor. I'd be a part of a team of people, because you don't want to be the only person, right? And I'm not saying you are, but I have to read into this a little bit. Like, if you're the only person and you're not there one day, if you're not around, if you're teaching class, if you're in a meeting, if you're doing IEP, if you're off the campus getting lunch and the kid is a meltdown and you're not there, you want them to be able to go to someone else. I would get at least 3 people that will surround that kid, that will constantly check in with that kid, that will help that kid navigate things. And then remember this, that is not going to go away anytime soon. Even though that child looks like they're doing better, even though things look like they've gotten better, it is still a struggle. Like when I lost my mom, I remember all I wanted to do was fall asleep. I wanted to fall asleep for 10 minutes. And I figured if I did that, then I'd wake up and the pain wouldn't be there anymore. And truth be told, 10 years after, I felt like, yeah, that was a good approximation of time. Like that's how long it took me to get past the gut-wrenching feeling of every so often or every year feeling completely destroyed, or feeling like my heart was ripped out, right? Because I really, really loved my mom. But that is, that is something that is ongoing. So it's letting kids know that forever you will be there for them. When they graduate high school and they go into college and they're having a shitty day because they remembered their mom, they're feeling awful about it, and they wished that she could see them when they were in college, know that they should know that they can just hit you up, shoot you a text, shoot you an email. You could do a phone call real quick. That is, it's constantly reminding them of that, constantly, because it will never get old to know that someone is still there for you. Mm-hmm. So that and finding a team of individuals to back that kid as much as you can, that's the best thing that you can do.
You don't have to read it out loud.
Wow. Tran's trying to get me to sing, hello, is it me you're looking for? That was the creepiest video ever, right? It was like Lionel Richie when he was hitting on the blind girl, and she made the portrait bust of him out of clay that looked like it fell off a shelf somewhere. Way to go, Lionel. Gage Smith is saying, I'm in school to teach K-5. How much free time does a teacher have after playing and whatnot? I'm in my 2nd year of college. When should I start looking for internships and student teaching? Look, so Gage, let me start the end question first. I would start now. And I would start trying to see if you can volunteer somewhere, work as part of an after-school program, work as part of a tutoring service, something like that. So you're engaging with students and also getting your name out there, right? You're honing your skills, and someone might say, hey, you're doing a really great job. Make sure you apply at my school after you graduate. The other thing is free time. That's going to be up to you. I mean, I remember my first year teaching, I literally would teach all day. I'd come home and I'd prep for most of the night. And then I'd literally just pass out on our living room floor. Do you remember this?
Mhm.
And I would like wake up in the morning on the living room floor. It looked like the beginning of The Hangover. And then on weekends, I would literally plan all day Saturday and Sunday doing lesson plans. And then maybe on Sunday night, have a little bit of time to just hang with my wife. So it can take as much time as you want. I would say a couple of things though to help with that. Do not recreate the wheel, right? I have a video called something like 10 ways to have the best year ever, something like that. There's some good ideas on there. But it is about not recreating the wheel. Like, don't feel like you have to, a lot of times lessons are what you make them, not what you made, right? So like I can pretty much, I think I would almost love to do a test on this. Like I think good teachers could get any lesson plan and make it awesome, right? But so don't recreate the wheel. Make sure you're working with other people. Make sure you're working with a mentor teacher at school or something like that. You could do something like join Teachers Connect, or you could go on to the closed Facebook group that we have, Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook, and get ideas from people there. And I think that's going to be the thing that's going to help you out the most. Joanne Markov is asking, what sort of technology do you have access to in your school, and do you use it regularly? We have electricity. I have a pencil sharpener. That's the crank one, not the electric one. I have staplers. No, so
she said something, I guess it's connected to, it's talking about technology.
I'm trying to get my brain wrapped around the Microsoft OneNote, Teams, etc. system, but tips online for Google Classroom. So look, Joanne, do me a favor and shoot me an email about that, because my friend Jen List at school is an excellent teacher, and she uses a lot of stuff on Google.
No, she's saying that she said that tips online are only for Google Classroom, not for Microsoft.
Yeah, because Google Classroom's like taking over the world.
Yeah, because they're brilliant.
I would say so. First of all, maybe comments. People like what do we got? How can we help her out with technology and like if you just look at her question, check it out and see what's going on there. I don't have a lot of that stuff. We're a one-to-one school, but only once the kids are in 10th grade. The 9th graders do not have computers, which is such a pain in the ass, because when you have a kid with dyslexia or dysgraphia and they write something to you and you have zero idea what it says or what it's supposed, like it's like you're decoding things. If I could my plan is to somehow figure out how to if I had 3 laptops that stayed in my room, I could help these students have such a better time in my class. So right now, a lot of times I have them text me assignments so they don't have to sit there and write it, because it crushes their confidence too. It makes them feel like they're not smart a lot of times because they have to write things out. So if I could just get like literally 3 laptops, it would be a game changer. But that's something I'm trying to, I don't know how I'm going to figure that out, but I'll try and figure it out somehow. But so yeah, I don't have a lot of technology. But here's the other thing I would say is I'm going to kick it back to the Facebook group also. And if you go in the Facebook group, you could leave that question in there. And the Facebook group has been awesome. Like I don't engage in it very much, but when I go through it and see the types of questions people are asking, seeing the answers people are given, long, thoughtful answers about these things, it's really, really awesome. And one of the things I love about it is that it is a place where questions that I can't answer, people can still find a safe place to have them answered, because it's closed. It's not open to everyone, so not everyone's going to see your stuff. And I like that idea. Mistakes of my past. That's a crazy name. Hi, I'm 19 from Norway. Awesome. I love Norway. That's where Pam was from, our buddy Pam. I'm currently toying with the idea of becoming a teacher. I struggle to make up my mind because I can be shy at times. Is there something I can work on, or am I a lost cause? So I would say, first of all, that you're not a lost cause. I don't think any of us are. Look, I mean, I got my ass beat every single day of my 9th grade year. Literally, my high school was so bad that in the bathroom, they didn't have doors on the stalls and they didn't have mirrors because kids would get crushed into them all the time. And I became, by 10th grade, I think end of 9th grade, really, I just lost my voice. Like I've always been an entertainer growing up. I've always been someone that's been able to infuse fun in anything. And I just really lost my ability to, like, I didn't think anything I said mattered. So I would go places and I was quiet, but not because I was shy necessarily, but because I didn't think anyone cared about anything I said. And I am not exactly when that switched, but sometime around the end of my 10th grade year, I found friends that I just fell in with, and I found my voice, and it made me kind of come alive. And so a lot of times when you're young, you feel a certain way, but as you get older, your brain changes and you find people and ideas that you can't help but share. You read books that you want everyone to know about. Next thing you know, you're 40 years old and you're starting a YouTube channel. So I would just keep that in mind. And look, if for no other reason, if you become a teacher, there is some child out there, more than one of them, most likely, that is you when you were in high school. There is that quiet kid that feels shy, that doesn't want to talk all the time, and all the other things that make you up into who you are, that feels invisible. And if you can take the leap, go into that school and find that child, you can make the invisible kids feel visible. And that is the greatest accomplishment that you could ever probably have in your life. So just keep that in mind as well. Grant Keller is asking, how do you help kids to treat each other well? By treating kids well. I think being the example. I think when you see it, you can be it. Which is so corny. I hate corny taglines, but I say them a lot because they just really get the message across. So look, here's one of the things I do. When I'm eating lunch with students, I always send my number one homies that I really care about and I really connect with to the lunchroom. Your job is to go to the lunchroom or to the hallways or to the bathroom or to the, the back stairwell of the school that no one knows about, to find kids that are eating alone, that don't think anyone sees them, and that don't think that they matter. And then your job is to only go, hey man, what's up? You should come up and eat lunch with us in Reynolds room. We're in this spot every single day at this particular time. And sometimes kids come up right away and sometimes they don't. And then their job after that is to we'll identify those kids. I find out their names. I give them to certain homies, the name to certain homies. And then when those guys go around the school, their job is to just say, what's up? Yo, what's up, George? Yo, what's up, Kareem? Whatever it is, you don't make a big deal out of it. You don't give them hugs. You don't spice it up. You just say hi. And again, you're teaching kids to make the invisible visible. And that kid now feels cared for. And when you do that, you're literally giving them the steps to become better people, right? And you don't, even if you don't have lunch with kids, you can still do this. Like a kid that you're close to, you see a freshman that's struggling and you go, yo, bro, do me a favor. Whenever you see this dude in the hallway, just be like, yo, what's up, man? That's it. That's it. That's all I want you to do. And that is scalable over time. And I think that that's what I would do with students. Hey, any advice on how to tell kids that they smell bad?
God.
Oh, this is the struggle, right? I would not tell that kid that they smell bad. I would tell everyone that they smell bad. That's pretty much what I would do. I think I would just tell everyone. What else?
That's what I would do. I would say, boys, it stinks so bad in here. We got to get an air freshener. Or I guess if they're probably not at all boys' school.
Or I would say
remind everybody, the whole class.
I would tell a funny story about when I was a kid and make something up. Like when you were a kid and you stunk in high school, or your friend stunk in high school and you didn't even know about it. So weekly life lesson, kids. Let's talk about deodorant. When I was in high school, this thing happened, this thing happened, this thing happened, and my friend stunk, and then he got made fun of, and it was terrible. Stuff like that. I don't know. That's a great idea. That's all I got for that one.
Who's Michael Cole Thomas?
Oh, MCT. He's a student of mine.
Okay, he asked to be featured in a YouTube video.
MCT. MCT, you come see me. I'll give you a permission slip, and then we'll get you in a YouTube video.
I don't know.
Nice picture, bro. Mr. Reynolds, you should start an LA at Boys Latin, something about the film business. I do, bro. Mondays and Tuesdays, I run a YouTube club after school. We talk about video content, how to create it, and how to make your YouTube channel and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, that question.
So go talk to Serdell, and she'll get you put into it. Andrew Nettlebeck is saying, hey, I started student teaching tomorrow. Any advice? First of all, Andrew, awesome, man. Fun for you. Two, I would say, look, I think I've given a lot of advice on student teaching. So you can go on, and I did a video with the lettered classroom. I forget what we called it, but it's literally my only thumbnail I think I have.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's called So You Want to Be a Teacher. It's the only thumbnail I have with me and someone else in it, right? So it's the two of us in the thumbnail. And we talk about that. But I would say since making that, one of the things I think is important to me, when I have to do a speaking engagement somewhere, right? One of the things I love to do is just spend a moment in the room that I'm going to be speaking in by myself. I envision the people in their seats. I envision my PowerPoint up. I envision myself giving the talk and that it's going really well. And I think that what that does is it takes the unknown and makes it a little bit more known. So if you're in your classroom early in the morning and you like walk through, no matter if this looks silly or not, like pretending to shake hands at the door, having your handouts there, pretending to walk up to the front of the room. How are you going to walk around the room? How are you going to introduce yourself? How are you going to hand stuff out? Like going through that in your head, it just takes that away, right? It's kind of magic in that sense. And so that's what I would do. And look, start making relationships immediately just by saying hi to kids, asking them regular questions about themselves. What do you like? What kind of games do you play? What kind of music do you listen to? Whatever it is. And having fun. Like this job should be fun, right? It should not just be a drag. There's too much shit in it that's going to bring people down all the time that you have to go in and try and have fun. And the best way to do that is to try and make someone else's day better than it would have been if you weren't there.
It's like a two-part.
How do I say that?
I don't know. You say Miss Gabriel.
Miss Gabriel, I might mess up your name, but Antoinette? I think I got it.
I think
that's what it
too.
is. I got it. Antoinette Gabriel is asking, I made a request on one of your vids. Could you do a video on student teaching? Maybe your experience as a student teacher, advice for student teachers, or how to support student teachers if you have been a mentor or teacher. So here's what I think we should do. Can you write this down, please?
We need to do that video separate from letter.
But I can also take the lettered video and like cut that part out and then put it up online. And that would be a dope way to do it. So student teaching video. My wife's writing that down now. So I will make that, and then I will try and get that up as quickly as I possibly can. Can you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you have another picture?
Well, because you made me write stuff down, and I don't have your phone.
Eagles are winning everyone 14-7. I just want to note that. So other cool stuff that's going on coming up. The website is up. We're going back to see Gary Vaynerchuk next month, and I could not be more excited about this. On like the 20-something of February, we got invited back up to see. So if you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, you should definitely dive into this. Dude, he curses a lot. So if your kids are around, and you don't want your 3-year-old saying the F word, we're going back up to see him, and then we're going to meet with his team while we're there too, which is super dope, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, I got that coming up. But right now, Kelly,
just Kelly.
It's Jakanovich. I got this one too. I'm telling you, I'm saying it right.
You're getting better.
I'm getting better. Kelly's asking, I'm trying to start using more positive reinforcement in the classroom. Does anyone have any ideas for positive reinforcement for middle school age students? Kelly, I think it doesn't have to be too overcomplicated. I find that like when I go around and so I'll do this on the super cheap end. This is when you have no money to spend. My kids always have teachers. Yeah, my kids always have my children, the ones that we made, are always have like old sticker books in the house and that they don't use anymore, right? They have like sometimes like the worst stickers in them. It'll be like stop sign stickers or parking cones or some other weird crap like a squirrel. And I just walk around the classroom and I put them on kids' pages when they're doing work. And dudes love this. It never ceases to amaze me how much they're interested in that. So like just doing little things like that, just holding kids back at the end of class and being like, hey, if I put a Post-it note on your desk, can you make sure you come and see me by the end of the class? And then when they come over, just let everyone know, like, hey, man, I just want you guys to know that I don't always have time to get around to everyone. And I know that I might seem frustrated sometimes in class or whatever, but I really care about you. And I want you to know that I'm noticing that you're doing a really great job. And I don't want it to be lost. And I don't want to necessarily like shout it out in front of the whole class and put you on blast and embarrass you, but like you're doing a great job. And I want you to know that I notice this. And like little things like that can really, really help kids. Or, you know, I keep candy in my room. We're a peanut-free school this year. So like I can't have anything with peanuts in it, but like, you know, when my kids go trick-or-treating every year, I take all the bad candy, all the crap that I don't want them to eat, and I take and give it to my students at school. So, you know, so like, I just think that's easy way also to kind of like incentivize things or just remind kids that they're doing a good job is like doing something like that. Jules G is saying, sorry, I'm late. No problem, Jules. You're right on time. Any tips for curbing constant chit chat or refusal to read? We do 15 minutes of reading each class. Students pick their books. Going into my second week of student teaching in WI. Is that Wisconsin? Washington? I'm going to go with Wisconsin. So I would do this. I find that it makes a huge deal when I first tell the kids what I've been reading lately, right? So I just started a book called, I think it's called You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And I give this kids the backstory on this dude, tell them what the book is about, tell them what I'm reading, and say like, yo, last night, yo, check this. I read this last night, and I read them apart from the book. Kids always love being read to. And then I tell them like, I'm excited to see what happens next. Then I read with the students all the time. I'm not trying to grade. I'm not doing some other work. And then I tell them like, if they're screwing around, like, bro, I'm in the middle of this really great part and you're messing it up for me. So just chill. And then sit near the talkative kids. I also let kids sit wherever they want in the room. So some kids sit in the box in the back. Some kids lay on the floor. Some kids lay across the desks. Whatever you want to do, so long as you're comfortable. And you let them know that, like, look, it's not a free-for-all. But what I want you to do is be comfortable and just read, because reading is valuable. And then maybe talk about why reading is valuable. And then at the end of the reading time, I say, yo, look, bro, I got to break this down. This is what just happened on here.
I'm
You're cursing.
I know. I'm
and
sorry.
You're going to get us in trouble. I think that like reading with your students just benefits them all the time. Rachael is saying, how do you keep students in their seats? How do you build relationships with a class that most students had a bad image of you? How to quickly relax midweek after a rough start? So Rachael, I would say, how do you keep kids in their seat? You take points off the grade. I take points off the grade. If the bell rings and you're out of your seat, you're marked as late, and I take a point off your grade for the day. For some, look, I don't want points.
Now you're going to have a million people asking your point system. Could you please make a video?
I have a video about the point system. I just don't know where it is.
No, it's like in the middle of it. I'm asking.
I know, but I also have like 300 videos. It's hard to find it.
Yeah.
All right.
Make a point system video.
Maybe I will. I don't like that kids respond to points so much. Like I don't want that to be their motivation. But the problem is that it is their motivation. So I just take away what they love, which is points. And sometimes I squirt them with water pistols. How do you build relationships in a class with most students have a bad image of you? Gosh, I mean, what would I say for that?
I think you have to reverse the image. Like and I think you do that by like connecting with those students by sitting and talking.
Yeah.
Like
so look, let me say this. We had college week this week, and I had a dude come back to school. That was a total pain in my butt. This kid, Doug, and Doug was a nightmare because he just like, he knew how to say stuff to bother you and to like hit push your buttons, like hit the soft spot. And when Doug came back, I haven't seen Doug in 8 years or something like that. He came back and he was like, yo, Reynolds, you were one of my favorite, or said you were my favorite teacher my senior year of high school. Bro, come on. And he said it was because I was always authentic, because I always just talked to them, because of my corny jokes. And I think that's what it is. I think it's one by one, knocking students down with kindness and with attention and with asking about them and not just talking about you or the class or whatever. That builds rapport, right? Like, look, think about when you guys were young. Anyone that's having a problem with this, think about when you were young. Think about when I was young. I think about when my parents' friends would come over the house and they would barely say anything to me. Like, adults do not talk to children that often, right? Maybe you're an outlier and you do, But for the most part, they do not. If you go to a playground, most adults are sitting on their phones. And I'm not dissing adults that sit on their phones, right? I sit on my phone playing too. But they're sitting on their phones, their kids are playing, and they don't play with them. When I go to the park, I always make it a point to play with my children. And the problem with that is that after playing with my kids for like 30 seconds, I have made like 10 new friends that are like, hey, can we play with you also? Can we play tag? Hi, my name's Jeff. Can we play tag also? And it's like, hey, Jeff, I'm a grown man that doesn't know you, but at least I have children with me, because that would be creepy if I didn't. But and then I end up playing with all the kids at the playground, right? Because kids want adults' attention and they do not get it, or they don't know how to interact with adults because they don't typically get it. My parents' friends would come over. They'd say, hey, man, how's school going? Cool. Playing sports? Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right. I'm going to go hang with your parents. And that's it. But if I was to say, yo, what game are you playing now? Bro, I heard about that game. Playing 2K a lot? Like, tell me about that. Like, what's your favorite team? Like what's your best score? Like, what's your favorite move? Like, what do you got going on there? It like ignites a fire in kids that does not exist otherwise, because no one else is doing it. And so that's how you win, is putting time into students to talk about regular stuff in their world and making them feel important. Ukulele Lauren is saying, I am in year 2. This year has been harder than the first, and I want to give up. Should I start looking at other careers, or does it truly get better like everyone keeps saying? So look, Lauren, I'm going to say, maybe it does. And the reason I would say maybe it does is sometimes it depends on your school, right? Like sometimes schools suck. Sometimes schools don't even deserve to be open, right? Like there are charter schools in Philadelphia that just suck. Sometimes the people that are working there, maybe you work at a school that's just not a good fit. And there's an upswing to this too. I'm not just going to talk about this stuff, but like, maybe you're not a good fit. And that always just keeps making me think of, Pocketful of Primary on YouTube. It's a friend of mine. And I remember when Michelle was at her previous job, she was having a really hard time. She had all these videos about like how hard it was, and she was crying, she was upset. And then she changed schools. She's a great teacher. She changed schools and she found a school that fit her, right? It's like relationships with people, right? Like just because you have a bad relationship with one individual. Maybe you have a bad boyfriend or girlfriend and it didn't go well and they didn't understand you. But the next relationship might be the greatest, like because you found your fit. You found the tribe that you were meant to be with. So that's one thing. The other part is I really think that it just takes time sometimes, right? And this is the tricky thing, because it's like, which one is which? It takes time to get to know yourself, to get to know your students, to get to know your subject matter, know your school, build confidence up, right? Confidence is huge. Learn how to balance your time, learn how to fill yourself up, to put your own oxygen mask on first before you put everybody else's on. So what you're doing is like giving yourself self-care. Either you're getting a massage, you join a kickball team, you take dance, you watch Netflix, you pray, whatever your gig is, right? You're filling yourself up first, and that gives you a lot more to give. I think the other thing is like finding a mentor sometimes, right? Not having to figure it all out on your own. The Karate Kid would have lost if it wasn't for Mr. Miyagi, right? Luke would be dead if it was not for Yoda and Ben Kenobi, right? So sometimes it takes someone outside of you. And so maybe that's, someone at your school, maybe it's someone you meet on Facebook, maybe it's someone that you met on YouTube, like whatever. That could be, we have a problem. So keep that in mind. So if you're interested, we also run like a mentoring program also. And this is not like a commercial for me, because like maybe somebody else is a better fit. I have zero idea. But if you go on realrapwithreynolds.com, you can find the mentoring link.
No, that's not up there yet.
It's not up there yet? So shoot me an email at my Gmail address, and which is realrapwiththereynolds@gmail.com. And I would be happy to have that conversation with you. And if not, finding other people that like can help to see you through that. You should not be going through this alone. No teacher should ever be doing it alone. They should be doing it as part of a team, part of a group, even if that group's one other person. What do you got? Are you fixing that?
I did that already.
All right.
Kate's on.
What up, Kate, the sleepy teacher? I see you on here. How do Donna? So it's kind of fun. Random thought, keeping in mind with so many software things like teachers Tryout. How often do you even read the terms of service updates? Wait, what?
Do you ever read the terms of service when you use new technology in your classroom?
No.
The answer's no.
I don't have time for that. I just assume positive intent. So that's a really good question. Donna, have you had a problem with that? Like, has it been an issue or something like that? Or like, I'm just wondering why you would bring that up. Like if you had a concern for it or something like that.
See anything else? I understand that. It's just so big.
Jimmy Strid, I think I'm pronouncing that right, is saying, what are your thoughts on control? Man, do I have thoughts on control? Jimmy, I'm going to say this. I think that when teachers have in mind why they're doing what they're doing. So one of the things I tell my students all the time is like, look, when I come in and I ask for quiet and I count down from 4 and want you to be silent, that is not so I can like lord over you. I have zero interest in being in charge or being the leader or being in control, right? What I'm doing is I'm realizing that you are young, that you don't know what's going on, and that you're impulsive, and that, I don't know, 1,000 other reasons, right? I need you to rein it in because I think what we're doing is important. Then when I tell you what we're doing today, I want you to know that why we're doing it, like what impact this has on your life, on your situation, on your future. Like, this is why reading's important. This is why Shakespeare's important. This is why Fahrenheit 451 is one of the greatest books ever written, because it pretty much foretold the future, right? There are reasons behind this stuff. This is why we take notes on the author. There's a reason we take notes on the author, because I want you to understand where this dude was coming from before he wrote this book. You understand Lord of the Flies much better when you know who William Golding was and what he had been through before he wrote the book. So I think that what we're doing, what we're trying to convey to students is like, I'm here for you. I'm here to try and help you out. I want the best life ever for you. But this is how we're going to have to get there. And you're going to have to trust me. And I'm not just trying to control you. What's up?
How do you on here? Or which one?
Which one? For this?
I just
this full? All right.
Oh, here.
Got it. Kendall and Reading is saying, do you have any? Dude, you're super distracting right now.
Sorry.
I know, you're freaking out. Don't know what's going on over there.
Threw a great pass and someone tipped it.
And then it went off a while.
Well, guess what? We stopped a field goal last week from tipping. So, I'm not going to watch. I'm in the middle of a live feed.
Oh, sorry.
And Kendall is asking a question.
And a good question. I apologize.
Do you have any advice for recognizing signs of abuse in your students, and how do you approach it appropriately? That is an excellent question.
A great question.
Kendall, and I would say neglect is the first sign. So like looking at like kids' hair, looking at whether or not they're hungry all the time, whether or not their clothes look clean. And so even kids that wear uniforms, like I have guys that wear uniforms, and I have guys that I know are just sloppy. I know their home story, and I know that they want to look like an extra from The Hangover. I know dudes that are totally on point every day, and then you can notice kids because maybe their hair looks dirty, maybe their clothes look dirty, maybe their white shirt is now a yellow shirt, things like that. And then I think just asking them questions like, hey man, you're like, what part of the city do you live in? Like, oh, West, like, who do you live with? Like, is it your mom or your dad or your brothers and sisters? And I always say, like, you don't have to answer anything you don't want to. I'm just interested in who you are as a person. And I ask this to kids whether or not I think something's like wrong is going on. And then when you get down to it, sometimes that stuff kind of comes up. Sometimes you notice a shift in the conversation, or they put up a wall or something like that. And then always, always, always report it. You don't have to call DHS. You can talk to not a mentor, like a counselor at school, or if you have a social worker at school, say, hey, look, I'm not really sure if this is happening or not, but I'm starting to get the sense that something may be going on with this individual. And then that person will bring that kid in. It never comes up that it was you. Nothing like that ever happens. They don't call DHS right away. But they know what signs to look for and what things to look for. Maybe they have a little bit more insight on the family or the kid or the situation or whatever. That's how I would handle it. It's like you building the relationship and then passing that on, but then keeping up with the student after that. but passing it on to someone, because as teachers, and I know in the US anyway, we are mandated reporters. If you think something's going on, you have to report it, which is why I don't follow any of my students back on Instagram, because, you know, they do dumb stuff. And if you're drinking at a party, I have to tell the school about it, and I don't want to do that. So I just don't follow you. Thanks for your follow anyway, kids. What do you got, buddy?
Well, I had to lose it because I remarked somebody.
Oh. So there's some fool on here leaving inappropriate comments, and it's messing my wife's question feed up. How do these people find us?
I think
what are you
if
doing? Go watch
live
the
gets
Eagles.
pushed to the top,
Yeah, they should go watch Instagram, or they should go watch the Eagles game instead, or just ask a real question, man. Help you out.
Said, "Oh, that's you read it. I don't know."
I'm not a teacher, but just subbed after I saw one of your videos, Tanya. Thanks, Tanya. Tanya, how did that go for you? I didn't like subbing, but I know other people that love it. Like who's the beast? I've known people that have really, really enjoyed subbing. So I'm wondering what your take on that was. Tabatha Harris is saying, are you going to do any more podcasts? So look, that's a great question.
There's so many things
I
to try.
have tried to set up a podcast with other folks, and it has fallen through every time. I would love to just push some of my content to podcasts. I listen to podcasts every day on my way to work, every single day, because I want to fill my stuff up with good stuff before I get to school. And so that is a thought. It is just that, look, I mean, in reality, I'm teaching. I have my own kids. I'm creating YouTube content as much as I possibly can. I'm mentoring people on the side. I've been trying to get my website up. I'm trying to make products to make or to send to people, and any number of other things we're doing also, like running Instagram, running Facebook, running the Facebook closed group. Like there's a lot of stuff going on.
We have our own kids with IEPs.
So I would love to, but it's just there's not enough time all the time. Beast, are you trying to get in there? Come on, want to get on the live feed? There you go. So yeah, that is in my hopes coming up, but that's that. Somebody just give us £1. Thanks, man. I'm gonna put
it to
the other thing I've been running is this haircut thing, which is actually happening. We just picked our first kids. So a couple weeks ago, a bunch of you gave money through PayPal, and some of them were just right through YouTube. And I've identified. I have this kid, Sean, that used to be a student of mine. Everyone calls him Shiz. Shiz runs, is a barber in West Philly, does really good haircuts. And so people donated money so that I could get kids that can't get haircuts. We are taking that money and getting kids haircuts. And I was going to bring this up later once it starts happening, once I have some stories and stuff like that. But like, it's a really awesome thing that's happening, is like helping kids out, because haircut culture in West Philadelphia is a big deal. When your dad tries to cut your hair and it ends up looking like crap and you have to go to school, it's like you are not filled with confidence to do the work that you need to do. But when you feel good and look good, that totally affects everything in your life. And you've come in doing better work. M. Ricker is saying, Reynolds, how far will you travel? We need your inspiration, East Arkansas. I will go to East Arkansas. So just, I would say, shoot me an email at realrapwiththereynolds@gmail.com. I would go, I was just in San Diego like a month or two ago, but like I travel all over the place. So shoot me an email. I've only been to Arkansas once. That's where Bill Clinton was governor. It was on a bridge. I think there was a bridge called the Bill Clinton Bridge or something like that. There's a thing. What would you like named after you? All right, I'll keep going. This looks like a couple of names squished together. Nora Kareem. It says, hey, I'm sorry if I mess up your name. Look, if you're new here, right, on this channel, I'm fairly certain that I am undiagnosed dyslexic. And so when names have too many vowels in them, it does not compute in my head. And it makes me look like a bad person because I can't say your name, but I apologize. It says, student here, I'm in AP Lit and I cannot be motivated to do anything in class. Like I have A's in every other class, but this one. It's the most boring thing ever. Advice. Look.
Grind it out.
That's what I'm going to say. Here's the advice, right? Whenever I would give 2 bits of advice here. One is that whenever I've had to take classes, especially in college, one time I had to take a geology course and we talked about rocks and stuff. And the teacher was pretty much like the guy from Ferris Bueller. He talked about rocks and I wanted to die. It was so boring. It was maddening. But I just went in there like it was my job. I went in there like every single time I ever take a run. I never look forward to it. I don't really like running. I just do it because I have to, because I want to be healthy. It's like every time my wife makes me a kale shake, I don't want to do it, but I just like put my pants on. This is stupid. I can't think of a good analogy right now. I was gonna say put my man pants on, but
it's okay.
All right,
it's a good
I
one.
put my man pants on. And I
you're a
handle
man.
my shit, and so I drink the kale thing down. And I don't do it like ew, and it's gross. I just pound that thing. I go into class and I have my pencils like literally lined up on my desk, and I'm ready to take notes. And I'm just gonna knock this class out, not because I love it, because I need it. Because where I'm going is important. Where I want to be is important, and I'm not gonna let some class that's boring get in my way. And so you just knock it out, especially if you have A's in all your other classes, right? Let the future, what you want to be your motivation instead of like comfiness and good feelings and all that stuff. Like you can knock that stuff out. Get after it. That's what my first thing would be. Second is I'm not good at like 1,000 things, but something I am good at is making stuff that's not fun, right? So like, or fun things even more fun. So I guarantee all my friends, anyone that's ever invited me to a wedding, I guarantee you there will be 30% more fun at your wedding because I'm there. Because I will fill my pockets with confetti, and at the top of that song, I'm going to get 15 people to throw confetti in the air at the same time, because I'm going to dance with your old miserable aunt that no one likes, but everyone's going to crack up because it's going to be an amazing moment. Whatever it is, right? Like I'm gonna make my own fun. And so some of the ways you do that is like finding out something your teacher likes and asking them about that, actually doing the reading and then asking insightful questions. And that's going to make your teacher go like, wait, you like read the material and like have questions and want to engage with me about it? Like that kind of stuff skyrockets things, especially when you're reading some of that boring ass material that you're made to read in AP classes. Like, I don't know, like The Pioneer or anything by, who's that? Oh, you're not going to know. There's some other writer that I was trying to think of that like was mind-numbingly boring to me. Who wrote The Sound and the Fury? But like Faulkner, right? So like that stuff is just super boring to me, but like making yourself find something interesting in it is just a good skill to have in life. So that's what I would say to you. Critical Fail just gave $10. Thank you very much. That's going to go to the haircut thing also. So like now this is what literally just happened, dude. You gave money and now somebody gets a haircut that needs it, that you don't even know. But you just put goodness into the world. So I really, really appreciate that. That was fantastic.
Can we just say that if people really want to donate, if they should do it through PayPal?
If people want to donate money, right? Like I'm not pushing for this right now, but like if you want to donate, you can go right to PayPal. Is it Real Rap with Reynolds? Mm-hmm. Look up Real Rap with Reynolds on PayPal. You can give money right through there, and it goes literally the whole thing just goes right to haircuts. We don't take a cut of it or any of that crap. Like it just the whole thing goes into it.
We just learned though that YouTube takes a large percentage of
YouTube does take some money, but PayPal does not. And
no,
right,
PayPal takes less.
But this
PayPal takes
is
3%.
But sometimes this is easier for people. So look, however you want to do it, I just deeply appreciate it.
Your full donation will still go.
Did you have a thing for me?
Yes,
Was it that one?
Student.
Pranav Chowdhury? I think that's right. Since I'm in freshman English and I might as well ask this while I'm here. That's awesome. Where are you in freshman English? Like, where do you live? That's interesting. Your name is very interesting also. Do you have any advice on how to incorporate well-written extension-level commentary into analytical writing? Are you asking me?
Sorry.
So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. If you, because that is easier explained in an email. If you email me at realrapwiththereynolds@gmail.com, I will connect you with someone that will absolutely show you about anything you want to know about writing. So just let me know. Shoot that email to me, and I'm on it. Another question?
I don't know.
I had to read that one. Sorry. I should probably stop drinking this coffee because it's 6:15.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cold. It's lubricating my vocal cords, so it's makes it easier to talk. We only have one phone tonight, which is why this is a hold up tonight, because I don't know where to put my phone somewhere.
All right, well, look at the time.
Yeah. All right. So let's do. This is last question because it's 6:15. I got to make sure everyone gets a shower tonight because my kids. I don't want them to be the stinky ones at school tomorrow. So how do you handle situations with students coming to you talking bad about other teachers? I just tell them that they're not allowed. I tell them like, look, you're literally like, I hear what you're saying, and if you want to have a conversation about it, let's have a conversation. But if you just want to talk trash on someone, like that can't happen because you're putting me in a tricky situation, right? Like you're putting me in a situation where these are my colleagues, or if it's someone, that's where I put it. That's kind of what I say if I don't really get down with someone. But if it's someone I back, if it's one of my favorite people at school, I'm like, bro, you got it twisted, because that teacher is actually awesome. They do great stuff. They are super fun. They're super kind. They're super nice. They go out of their way. Like you guys don't even realize all the awesomeness they bring that makes our school a better place because they're here. So I just think that that's kind of like how I would put that. And yeah, so the students need to know that the teachers are part of a team. What am I doing? One more?
Yeah.
Got it. So that's what I would do. Sandy H is saying, in third year, and I'm terrible with classroom management. It's a Title I middle school. I was so determined till now. I don't want to give up, but I'm so burnt out. No mentor program. How to know when to quit. That's, like I said this a little bit earlier, but it bears repeating. I would say, Sandy, that like, look, mentors don't have to come from your school. Is there someone that you student taught with? Is there someone you grew up with that was a teacher of yours that you thought was awesome? That kind of stuff can go somewhere too. You can join the Facebook group and go in there and find a mentor. I also mentor. So like if you are interested in that, you can shoot me an email at realrapwithreynolds.com, and I would be happy to have that conversation with you on like what mentoring looks like and all that stuff. But look, third year, look, it's usually when it starts getting easier, but sometimes it's the class, right? Sometimes it's the teacher, sometimes it's the experience, sometimes it's the comfort level, sometimes it's the confidence, but every once in a while it's the class, right? Like, so last year's class that I had was extremely difficult, right? We ended the year great, but when they came in, it was like, is this stuff happen? Like, I thought it was better than this. Like even my expectations for myself were much higher, but dudes would come in like, not listening to me when they got redirected, not having like private conversations with me in the hallway that I usually try to do. They were like kind of like brushing that off. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like I feel like I'm teaching in the Twilight Zone. So that I would just keep in mind as well. So look, is it the time to quit? Only you can know that. But look, not every school is the perfect fit for every teacher, right? Like I get teaching in a Title I school. I get wanting to be there for a reason. I get trying to do the good work. But if that school's not well run, it might not be a good place for anyone. So I would start checking out other teachers' classes, sitting in on their classes, seeing what works for them, what doesn't work for them, reaching out to people that maybe you used to know, reaching out to people on here, reaching out to people in the Facebook group, contacting me about possible mentorship. Like, those are some of the things you can do. And then I would practice like that. I think that's my answer. That's what I would go with. So look, and I really hope that it gets better for you, because I hate to hear that kind of thing. I know what that feels like, because they've been there, and as I bet every single person in this feed has been. So no matter which way you go, I really hope that it works out and that you still keep teaching. That's it for the night, gang. Look. Laura Salzlin? I think, Laura, I appreciate you giving money, because I just got another kid a haircut, and I really appreciate it. Like, I love this stuff, man. People are awesome, man. I really, like, everyone talks trash on the friggin' internet all the time and on social media and on all the comment sections. And like, but look, like, my comment sections are always just filled with so much love and kindness and people that are actually caring and like giving their hard-earned money so that like to benefit students. Awesome. I love it. Gang, I hope you have the best week ever. I hope that this week is super empowering for you. And I have a video coming out this week that I think is my favorite video that I've ever been able to make with my students that came back from college to talk to my current students that are in my room, and just the stuff that they had to say was I almost cried in the back of the room twice, which isn't really hard because I cried, pretty much everything. So that's it, gang. I hope you have the best week ever, and that's it. Peace.
And go Eagles.
Oh, go Eagles. Go Eagles. Later. Awkward.